USA, baby. 2-0, 2-0. Say it in any language you want, man. Three-peat in Dallas, Texas, in Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium. It doesn't get any better or easier, let's be honest, any easier than USA versus Mexico for the United States men's national team. 2-0, and I'm just going to go ahead and get straight into it, brother. There's almost nothing to talk about here because what this game ended up being was a toothless Mexican side against, let's be honest, a slightly out of form, sloppy USA side. And what ended up happening? USA won, shutting out Mexico 2-0. And this is kind of my point and why I wanted to hold off on expressing myself fully after the Jamaica game, because even with the USA slightly out of form, or you could actually say even more so out of form, we still beat the second best team in CONCACAF pretty easily. Mexico's best chance at goal was a penalty. A possible penalty call. Anthony Robinson tries to clear the ball from Santi Jimenez. There was a possible claim of contact, but you look at the replay, there was zero contact, no controversy. Mexico really had no other chances. And when you look at the passage of play, it pretty much was the USA dominating all of the offensive pressure. And that's another point that I want to make is Pulisic was off. He had a lot of heavy touches, man. Haji Wright was okay. His impact wasn't as good as when he came on for Jamaica. Balogun comes on, he does okay. On the right side, Timothy Weah was good. He was his solid self. But I thought Adams was a little sloppy. I thought McKennie was very sloppy on his passes. But we still won 2-0. And so that's my ultimate point here. There's almost nothing to talk about because the USA are the kings of CONCACAF. Three-peat, a three-title defense. CONCACAF kings, the United States of America. I just don't know what else to say. I'm tired of the criticism. I'll get in that in a second. I want to let you have any sort of rebuttal here, even if you have anything to add on. But USA 2-0 against Mexico, three-time champions of the CONCACAF Nations League.
Bro, I hate not having a fucking mic, dude. I just gotta take all that shit. Jesus Christ, it's like a rap battle. You just fucking sling it, man. And you just have to take it. I hate that, by the way. But we make it happen. No matter where we are, no matter what's happening with the Give and Go, we get the episode out. So give us a subscription for that. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Let me get that out of the way. Anything to deflect the fucking beating that I just took verbally from Soltero there. And the thing is, man, I don't disagree. This United States side, to me, just cemented itself as probably the best United States run we've seen in CONCACAF for sure. These past 3 years, what they've done has been absolutely incredible. Just defeating what is ultimately the weakest Mexican side that we've seen in generations, bro. And even when I thought that something was being cooked up for this Mexican national team after an impressive 3-0 defeat over Panama, even when I was starting to just slightly buy into Jimmy Lozano's plan, I think it was revealed why people call me Reynoso the reindeer. Because you know what reindeers are known for, bro? Being fucking naive, man. Naive little animals that just prance around. They look all cute and cuddly, and then a moose arrives. And once that moose arrives, I don't want to get into the cruelty of it, but it gets ugly, bro. It gets ugly. And I started to get a little confident. I started to feeling myself a little bit. If you look back at the last episode, you will see that. But I think just once again that naiveness I have towards Mexico was on repeat once again, because we've had this podcast for 2.5 years now. And this is like my third time that I buy into Mexico. I say they're going to make it out of the group stage in 2022. I say they're going to be Nations League champions in 2024. And here I am once again regretting the things I said on camera regarding the Mexican national team. And I think a lot of it is just tied to my emotional, passionate side, connection to this nation. But ultimately, man, I'm left disappointed once again. In the same way that I was in all of those past runs, man, this Mexican national team, there's so much I want to get into, man. But before I do that, just the last thing I want to touch on with the United States is thoughts on Berhalter and how he did today with the lineup he put out, the performance he put in after a shaky Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, I would say, performance overall. What do you think about Berhalter right now with another third back-to-back-to-back victory in the Nations League?
Now, I thought Greg Berhalter put in a really great performance today from a managerial perspective, starting Gio Reyna as kind of like a floating, drifting, attacking midfielder alongside Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams is exactly why I like Greg Berhalter as the head coach of the United States. He's done this before where if he wants to have an offensive scheme, he'll put a really offensive midfielder right alongside two hard workers in the central part of the pitch. Whether it's Gio Reyna, he used Brendan Aronson over the last year and a half, and it really works because he doesn't go defensive in any of the front three. He has an attacking midfielder, and then he keeps the most offensive front three that he possibly could start. Christian Pulisic on the left, Timothy Weah on the right, and today it was Haji Wright up top. So we have 4 all-out attackers on the pitch, and then we have class with Weston McKennie. Tyler Adams, I think, is a bit out of form. It showed today. But when he's on it, we know Adams can be one of the best midfielders in all of the Americas. So, and this goes back to all the criticism towards Greg Berhalter, not just after the Jamaica game, but after any weak performance. I just think Greg Berhalter is the scapegoat for the United States. And and I'm tired of it, dude. I am tired of it. Because every time the United States has a poor game, it's Berhalter needs to go. He's not going to be the future of the United States from a managerial perspective. I'm just like, what? And a lot of the criticisms is, Berhalter's too defensive. He doesn't know what to do with our offense. And I just think that is the most absurd thing to say when he constantly changes the team to be more offensive after a poor showing. As I said, he'll either use Brendan Aronson or Gio Reyna in these really offensive schemes, and it works. We go all out. The thing is, the reason why the USA didn't play better today, I don't think is really a Greg Berhalter problem. I just think players truly came here into this camp in March and were a bit out of form. Pulisic has been going off for Milan, but even today against Mexico, he had some fat touches, bro. He had some really sloppy plays, and even against Jamaica, there were moments where he's in the box, he has a chance to shoot, he holds on to it for a little bit too long. You cannot put that on the coach. I don't understand where any of this criticism is coming from, to be completely honest. I just think people have nowhere else to look. And also another thing, and this has been going on in the United States for a long time, people love to criticize the U.S. when we're doing bad. Quote unquote bad. They love to criticize it. Clint Dempsey, that whole CBS crew, I love them when the USA are doing really well, but my God, they're so harsh sometimes. They are so harsh. And I know we played really poor against Jamaica. I'm not excusing that, but my goodness, bro. I mean, we just three-peat. Like you already said it, and I completely agree. This is the best USA side ever. Not just from a talent perspective, but the way that we get results now. Like, we don't just tie Mexico anymore. We win. We win. And the amount of victories that we're getting against Mexico, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as long as we have this 11 out on the pitch at all times. I just don't think you can put any poor performance on Greg Berhalter. When I will allow criticism for this United States side is when we have a long string of not just poor performances, but bad results. Because we can have a bad game against Jamaica, we still ended up winning, right? And that's the thing. We're still winning, bro. And no, come on.
30 seconds away from losing that match, bro.
But and even if we would have lost that game, I still wouldn't have really cared because I need to see like 5-6 games in a row where the USA look lost. That's when I'll sound the alarm and be like, okay, maybe Berhalter's not the guy. And it's similar to what Mexico went through during and after the World Cup, where the results just were not going y'all's way. That's when I want to get word for the USA. We can have a couple of poor performances here and there, but overall, if the shape looks good, if the passage of play is positive, I know our players will show up on the biggest stage just as we did today. I'm not worried for the Copa America. Greg Berhalter right now is the guy. If you say otherwise, I just think you're looking for some weird criticism against this United States side.
Give me the mic. Actually, there's some great points. I think the form, I think that's being overlooked. I think a lot of people are losing sight of the fact that, players take a flight from Europe back to the USA. It's different. There's an impact there. Getting acclimated, we see it happen all the time, especially in CONCACAF. I'm going to defend the critics out there because I think it is worth defending because I just can't overlook the poor performances, but then also the opposite side that ultimately, what is his most impressive performance with the USA? What is it? Is it beating Mexico's worst generation? Is that it? Because I don't think that's impressive then. Because seeing how this team plays, we can play up to Panama, we can play up to a Jamaican level, but anything above that, we showed for the past 2-3 years that we are not up to par. So why is defeating that suddenly so impressive? I think that's why I ultimately don't really give Berhalter a pass for what he did today, although he did very well. I give him credit for the fact that this was a game of magnitude. There was pressure in that sense. There's always drama around a matchup like this, but what is his best result? He loses against Japan when he faces off against them in the friendlies. He ties England at most. Is that it? Is it tying England 0-0 when they weren't really looking for a victory? What is that performance to really counter the idea that the poor performances don't matter? Because when it does matter, he shows up. If it's beating Mexico, I think that's why people get so skeptical and why I still decide to criticize him, because I just don't know if I see him being able to do that at the Copa America.
Those are fair. Those are fair points, and I do understand that. You say all of that and then criticize Berhalter, then I agree, right? Okay. But this problem has been going on for CONCACAF for decades. We don't have the ability to constantly play against the world's best, right? Most of our games outside of big tournaments are against local CONCACAF teams. So we can only play against who we are playing against within CONCACAF, right? And it's always been a problem, right? The USA can really only face Mexico, and Mexico had this problem for a long time. Between like 2006 and 2018, Mexico's best opponent was the USA, and for the most part, Mexico always won. And once you went to the World Cup, then things got a lot more difficult because you're playing against the Netherlands. You're playing against the top European teams, and that the difference starts to show because you're not used to playing against those teams all the time. That's why I don't really care about the way we play against Jamaica, because I just don't think Berhalter can do much, right? I mean, before the Nations League existed, this was just friendlies, right? And so the players in the middle, towards the end of their season, have to come all the way to the United States and play basically just a slightly more competitive friendly. I'm okay with the performances. It's when the Copa America type of tournaments come around, that's when I really look at every single country and see how they perform. So once again, I will take fair Berhalter criticism if the context makes sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense to me. Not until we play poorly in the Copa America will I be like, all right, Berhalter either needs to change a lot or he needs to go. But that hasn't happened yet. We're going to find out a lot this summer. And you can honestly say the exact same thing about Jimmy Lozano. I think his performances here in the Copa America has to decide whether he's going to be the coach going into the World Cup or not.
All right. Ready? You can sip your beer. You can sip your beer while I talk, man. You can enjoy your victory. Speaking of Jimmy Lozano, let's transition to the topic of Mexico, because I had a very long ride home, bro. That shit was like over an hour. That's a lot of time to sit in your fucking thoughts while I just reminisce or thought about the idea of just a snapshot of what you were experiencing. Probably music blasting in your car, hands in the air, probably weren't even focusing on the road, screaming your ass off as you drive.
That's exactly what it was.
The contrast was me fucking sulking in my fucking seat, dreading the drive while it rained too, to add to the moment, and listening to Drake. I decided to put on some Drake, and not celebratory Drake. Moody. Deprecation, fucking down on his luck type of Drake. We all know those type of songs, and there's one song specifically that I listened to called Marvin's Room, which is, in my opinion, one of the most tragic songs that exists in music, man. That song is heartbreaking, man. Heartbreaking song, and there's a line in it that says, "Fuck that dude that you love so bad. I know you still think about the times we had." And I thought about that line from the perspective of a Mexico fan speaking to the Mexican Football Federation, man. Fuck that dude that you love so bad, Jimmy Lozano. Fuck that dude that you love so bad, Uriel Antuna. Fuck that dude that you love so bad, Henry Martin. I know you still think about the times we had Chicharito. I know you still think about the times we had Carlos Vela. I'm fucking on the verge of tears right now, man. Rafa Marquez, prime Gio motherfucking Dos Santos, Héctor Herrera, a loyal Andrés Guardado, a prime Guillermo Ochoa, a fucking feisty Miguel Ayun, fucking Paul Aguilar if you want to throw him in there, bro.
Yeah, throw him in there.
Some good players that have gone through the ranks of Mexico, man. And now looking at what we have now, I just can't help but relate to Drake when I see this lineup and I just think about that attitude of fuck this, bro. Fuck this. I miss what we used to have, and I miss that the Football Federation of Mexico is buying into and giving minutes to specifically Uriel Antuna, Henry Martin, and then there's other players that I think are a little bit questionable. But for me, the biggest thing about this match was, one, the absence of Julian Quiñones not being on the pitch. That's unfortunate. I really do wish just what this matchup would have looked like. I'm not saying we would have won. I don't think we would have. But I just would have loved to see what our offense would have looked like after it looked pretty positive with Julian Quiñones in the lineup against Panama. That sucks. That hurt. But then once again, the selection of Henry Martin over Santi Jimenez just stings like a bitch, bro, because we were at the stadium, we were at the game, and by the 30th minute, we're hearing Santi chants, bro, mid-game after a dismal performance once again from Henry Martin where he couldn't get a proper touch in, where he didn't look physical out there, was getting bodied up. And I'm not saying that I'm expecting him to score goals, within a half, bro. I get it. We don't get lots of service into the box. We're not the type of team that can build comfortably around a really good striker, but there's more that you can do. And I just feel like Henry Martin wasn't doing it, so put Santi on. It's abysmal to me, man. It's so frustrating that Santi doesn't come on until the 65th minute after we're already down 2-0 and the game's done, bro. And what we see then was actually the idea that you mentioned earlier this week of a pairing striker formation with Henry Martin and Santi Jimenez actually looking somewhat dangerous, man, by our standards. That was really frustrating. And just, talking to so many Mexican fans at the game, fans of the show as well, like it's so clear that the frustrations are all the same for all of us, man. Like the fact that we have a guy that has the word tuna in his last name and our starting lineup is crazy. I will Venmo somebody right now $100 if you can find one player that was successful in the world of football with the word tuna in his fucking name, man. One fucking guy. Comment it right now in the comment section down below. If you find one guy, I'll Venmo you like $10. $10. I seriously will Venmo you $10. One guy with the word Antuna in his fucking name, because Uriel Antuna, I think, has just completely fallen off a cliff. His nice moments are good when we get them, but his inconsistency is so brutal, bro. It's brutal as a fan, man. It really is. And the thing is, when he isn't flowing, when he isn't at his top best shape, we're talking about Pulisic maybe being a little bit out of form, he still finds ways to impact the game regardless. Tuna doesn't have that, bro. He doesn't. It's either you live or die by him, and we got buried because of Antuna offensively, especially with his crosses. Good Lord. Henry Martin didn't do much. Santi Jimenez comes on. We saw a little bit more electricity. But then the midfield today, I think, got cooked. Properly cooked, man. Medium rare, however you like it, to whatever taste you would like, bro. They got cooked. Edson looked active. He was great, but Chiquito? Good Lord, man. Chiquito was he was just losing every battle, bro. He didn't look impactful out there. And Luis Chavez, I thought, was pretty non-existent. His long balls just weren't working. His set pieces weren't working either. They were really successful against Panama. Not this time around. All in all, with the midfield not working and us mentioning earlier this week that we live or die by that midfield, we died by that as well. Combined with the questionable offense, man, it made for a classic 2-0 result here. I have no excuses, bro. I'm just kind of criticizing here and expressing the frustration that so many Mexico fans have, because at this point, this is like therapy for us now. These videos, that's probably why Mexico fans are watching. I don't know why else you'd be watching this video, because Salts is going off right now. Like, this is fucking therapy at this point. And you know what? I'm going to take advantage of it, but I'm frustrated, bro. I'm frustrated. We have the Copa America coming around the corner. This isn't enough to fire Jimmy, but good Lord, bro, am I so questionable of this guy right now? And just overall, the whole team, once again, just showing that they are a class below this U.S. men's national team. Congrats to you guys. It's amazing. And I really do think that y'all are set to do something really, really special. I'm just worried about what the Copa America now looks like for us because I think it's so clear. We just can't play up to whatever the U.S. level is. We cannot play up to that. And I think there's about like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 teams in CONMEBOL that can match that level, bro. So it's looking scary.
You need a beer, man? Let me get you a beer. My goodness, dude. I mean, I don't want to, but I'm going to go ahead and go into my Mexico points. A lot of it will just double what you said. But to start off, I think the midfield got absolutely cooked. But I just don't think it's a surprise. You have Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and out-of-form Tyler Adams.
How about his goal, bro?
Oh, what a banger. And honestly, a huge one that opened up the game going into the second half. And then, of course, Gio Reyna, who himself had a beautiful finish near post off of a rebound in the box. Again, you compare that to Luis Chavez, to Chiquito Sanchez. That's tough for Mexico. That's really tough to cover. As you said, Edson actually did very well. In that defensive role, I thought he was very good in it. But that's all he can really do. Cover as much as he can defensively, give the ball out, but once you give it out to Antuna, once you give it out to Chucky Lozano, you just don't have the quality. You don't have the ability in isolation to beat Anthony Robinson or Serginho Dest. And then if you have the coverage of McKennie or Richards, Tim Ream, you're going to get absolutely bodied. And that's exactly what happened. But it's why I think Mexico have to not just experiment with it, but they have to double down and always play a 2-striker formation. Yeah. It's the only way. It's the only way that Mexico will be able to have any joy offensively, because you just put 2 big men up front, then you can occupy some sort of defense, right? And then maybe you can get Lozano on an isolation play once you have 2 strikers occupying 2 center backs. But the way it is now with 3 in the midfield and 3 up top, it just doesn't work. Mexico's best spell in the game was like 5 to 10 minutes after Santi had come on, and then finally there was some sort of verve, some sort of attack for Mexico. It died after the penalty wasn't ultimately called. But yeah, I mean, and that's my second point, I guess, is the absence of Julian Quiñones. I think I'm very disappointed that we didn't get to see it, at least for the competitiveness of this match, because honestly, people are chanting Santi, 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 but it should be Quiñones, Quiñones, Quiñones. He, for me, is Mexico's best offensive weapon that they have right now, going into the summer. So you're going to pray that Quiñones is going to be fully healthy for the Copa America. I don't think anything's going to be possible without him as far as scoring goals on a consistent basis. I thought he was very dangerous against Panama. And again, that biggest point is he's just a body that's very worrisome if you're a defender, because he's fast, he's strong, and he has the class to finish pretty tricky goals. That's a trifecta of a striker. You have that in Julian Quiñones. I'm very disappointed that, obviously it's not his fault, but that he was injured. I'm just disappointed that we didn't get to see him play against the United States side. And then my third point is Jimmy Lozano. And I don't even know if it's his fault. This might be put on the Mexican Federation, but I just don't know why Mexico doesn't look for just a European tactician coach. Like a lower mid-table Premier League type of coach who's used to not working with a lot, no offense there, and makes the most out of it. I'm talking about like a really successful Burnley coach, right? Or like Bournemouth, like a Sean Dyche, for example, Nuno Espírito Santo, right? Yeah. Someone who doesn't have a lot of quality at his disposal, but he makes a hell of a competitive side. And I just don't think Lozano has the experience, man. Again, it's not his fault. He's just been dealing with Mexican youth up until this time. So I'm just more disappointed in the Federation not being more adventurous. Like, we just saw the AFC Asian Cup, right? And how many European coaches did they have? Obviously, it doesn't work all the time, but, sometimes it really lends itself to a team punching above their weight just because they have a guy who's used to just coaching at the very high level in Europe. And then you bring him over to a lower side and he's like, you know what, I can make this work. I think Mexico need to kind of go in that route. Get a guy who's really experienced, and I'll go ahead and name drop it. You've name dropped it before. Javier Aguirre with Mallorca is working wonders right now with a team that does not have a lot. Yeah. So I just don't understand why the Mexican Federation doesn't take that approach. It's delusion if you think that Mexico has the skill set as the United States. And what you need instead is full honesty and understanding of what you have, and then from there make it work. But I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing it. And I'd be fine with Lozano if he was more adventurous, but ultimately, dude, he's not. He chooses the same 11, he refuses to play Santi Jimenez, and he uses the same formation every single time. So I just don't think it's going to work. And it goes to your last point. The Copa America, now I'm getting a little scared. Oh, yeah. I'm getting very scared for Mexico. I hope it works out. I think it can because there is talent with Mexico. It just has to be utilized correctly.
Jimmy is a fucking puppet, bro. A puppet at the hands of Televisa and the Mexican Football Federation. I'm all in on the conspiracy, bro. I'm all in. But I think you're right. You look at the past coaches. Diego Coca, I thought, was somewhat adventurous because of just what he achieved in Liga MX. But the most adventure we've done is fly over to fucking Argentina and search for a coach there, bro. That's it. We just don't embrace these other opportunities that are out there in the world of football, which I agree is very, very bizarre, bro. Very bizarre how loyal we are to a specific type of coach, given that the world of football changes so often. We lack that ability to adapt. And Jimmy Lozano, I think, is another example of a coach that is just limited in his skill set and just ultimately will be unable to get the most out of these guys. I'm saying that now, man. Like, after what I've seen now, after having him for, almost a year now, I think I've seen all I had to see with Jimmy Lozano being coach. I'm so questionable, man. So questionable. I'm in my fucking head, man. Like, I have so many questions as to why he makes certain decisions, and I just can't look past it. And now going into Copa America, I'm worried, bro, and I think a lot of Mexico fans are too. It sucks, bro. Like, I wish we could have had the 2010 or 2014 generation be gifted the opportunity to host a Copa America and host a World Cup, man. Imagine, man, if we went to the 2014 round of 16 and lost out to a feisty Netherlands side on a no era penal type situation over in Brazil. Imagine what would have happened if that same situation happened here in the United States and what essentially would be a home game, bro. Like, I just can't imagine, man. And instead, we're doing it now with the weakest generation of Mexicans that we have ever seen, bro. Like, this jersey is from 1998. This generation is worse than any team before that, bro. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, it has been so long since we've seen a team this low in quality represent Mexico. And it's just, ultimately, the whole point of this video is just me being frustrated, bro. Because I'm just so over this. I am so done. And fuck, bro, this shit hurts, man. This shit fucking hurts because I think officially we have given up the throne. We have given up the title of Kings of CONCACAF. It's in the U.S. hands now completely with Serginho Destino, who looked like a fucking Brazilian out there, like fucking Neymar, the way he was dancing all over the pitch. Pulisic being the number one threat, the way people booed him, I low-key loved it, bro, because, like, man, he really has embodied, like, this villain-type role that Mexican fans have put him out to be, and he absolutely balls. Thank God he didn't score that, like, 8th-minute opportunity where he had some insane touches in the box, because that would have been absolutely ridiculous if he got that goal, and it would go down in U.S. history lore as one of the greatest goals ever, because it was just an amazing technique there. But instead, we got yet another amazing goal in Tyler Adams scoring. One of the best goals I've seen in a USA-Mexico rivalry, bro. Like, this was an incredible goal, man. I really think we should highlight that because I lost my mind seeing that in person. Nothing but respect. All I could do was clap. He shot it from so far away. And Guillermo Ochoa, who I think was very bad this game, just couldn't get to it. And it was just an amazing moment. Afterwards, Gio Reyna having his moment too. Player of the tournament with 2 assists against Jamaica earlier this week and now getting this game-sealing goal, the second goal in this match with a nice half volley. I mean, it's just incredible. It's just incredible, man. It really is. And I guess the last thing I have to say, man, truly is just shout out to all the fans of the show that showed up once again to take photos with us, to talk footy with us, man. Like, I needed something bright. I needed something positive today, man. I really did. And luckily I have that. You know, I have that. I have the ability to talk football with so many of you guys, to share that love for the sport, but more than anything, that gratitude, that feeling of being so lucky to be able to do what we do and that people watch what we do, man. Like, it's incredible. Shout out to all you guys that we took photos with, that we talked footy with, man. It means the world to me. And that's definitely what I'm going to think about going to sleep tonight, because there's other things right now that are tormenting me like fucking crazy. So shout out to you guys, man. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this show. That's all I got to say. You close it out.
No, just to kind of piggyback off of that note, I want to give a big shout out to my boy Wilson, who I met in Miami at Ultra. One of the kindest, most passionate football fans that I've met. It was a pleasure meeting you, brother. And I just want to say a big shout out to Costa Rica. He's a Costa Rican, and they got a big win to qualify themselves into the Copa America. Unfortunately, didn't get to see the match, but
we'll talk on Wednesday.
We will. I want a little roundup on other international matches that has happened over the weekend. Brazil getting a win in Wembley against there's some interesting results for sure. Oh yeah, and they're on a somewhat of a big run themselves. But we'll talk. But yes, absolutely. Shout out to all of the fans, the family of the Give and Go. Let's keep it growing. Let's keep talking football. We love it. I know y'all love it. So let's just build this family together. What a game. USA 3-peat 2-0. USA. Let's go, baby. Let's go.